In recent decades, Hollywood has turned our beloved childhood cartoons into live-action films. Some adaptations have been decent, while others, well... So news broke recently that a live-action version of the animation How to Train Your Dragon is currently in the works. Normally, we'd have to wait for a teaser or a poster to really understand the movie's direction. Sadly, it often confirms our fears that our beloved character didn't quite turn out the way we hoped for. Well, I don't have the patience for that, so I've decided to take its iconic poster and embark on the challenge of creating a live-action version myself. How hard could it be, right? So before things get really tricky, the first task on hand is a pretty simple one: create the background. I'll start by positioning this very nice looking nighttime scene, and I think I'm going to use a bit of creative license with this piece, but for the most part, I want to stick pretty close to the original poster. I'll just make a selection here and stretch this down so it fills the canvas. Now these clouds aren't nearly dramatic enough, and that moon just isn't going to cut it. So I've got this one, which is much more like it. All I need to do is move that into position and then mask away the parts I don't want. I think this moon could still be a little bigger. Yeah, there we go. Just use a soft round brush to mask away those edges and create a nice blend. It's missing some stars, so let's drop in a layer that we can overlay. I'll set the layer blending mode to color dodge, alter the brightness, and then simply remove any stars that are overlapping the clouds and the ocean. Okay, let's address the burning question: who's going to be our Hiccup? I once again scoured the internet and came across this awesome website called mycast.io. It's simply a place where people can suggest their dream cast for upcoming movies. And it didn't take me long to discover the ideal candidate, Elliot Greeholt. Not only does he look the perfect match, but he also has previous experience dealing with dragons. We'll just quickly chop off Elliot's body. Sorry, Elliot. And we'll flip that horizontal so he's facing the right way. And I'm just going to paint back in a few hairs so there's a bit more variation in the edges. And we'll place him about there. For the body, we'll use a combination of this pose, which I'll cut out, along with this pose, which I'll also remove the background from. First, I'll just roughly put that into position. Let's match the proportions a little better. And I'll just remove some bits here. And then we can just simply move the other pose on top, match the size, and use a soft round brush to erase any unwanted parts. Nice, okay, I think that's a decent blend to begin with. These will do nicely for the fur coat, so let's make some selections. And just using the warp tool to alter the shape slightly. Now, Hiccup's top is green? Yeah, green, so I'll use a hue and saturation adjustment layer, clip to the character layer, and then mask away the areas we want to keep the original color. Let's make the fur coat darker. And then we'll paint in a few shadows so it looks a bit more planted on the character. Oops, forgot to remove the green on the belt. Okay, time for that neck transplant. I'll make a selection of the area I want, move it into position. Now, let me just take a quick moment for some shameless self-promotion. I've just recently released my first fantasy overlays and assets pack. The goal with these was to create the kind of assets I wish I had available to me over the years, focusing on quality over quantity to create some versatile premium overlays. There's some pretty cool stuff in there like dragonfire and meteors, and I've been using these myself to help enhance my client work. So if you're in the market for some unique assets or just want to help support the channel, then head over to the link in the description. And hey, for those of you interested in courses, I've got you covered on that front too. A little bit of warping just to get it exactly where I want it. And then I'll go with the curves adjustment layer to match the lighting, using a soft brush to mask away and blend the edges. And then a bit of dodge tool just to match the highlights. Add a bit of shadow, and hey, that's already looking better. Now we can just add some highlights to the different sections to match the scene. And skadoosh, that's Hiccup pretty much done, I'd say. Before we move on, just going to drop in a few layers of smoke and mist to beef up the atmosphere and create some separation between the character and the backdrop. Now the moment I've been dreading, but also kinda looking forward to: how to make Toothless. I know I need to start strong, and that means having the perfect base plate to build off. And so, after searching every stock photo website that exists, I finally found this. It's just a base. It'll be fine. Let's make that selection and get it cut out. And Toothless in the original poster is around about here. And we better change the colours quick so I don't regret the decision to use this mask. And it's mighty warping time again. Let's see if we can get a better shape and build some confidence in this mask. Creating a realistic version of a cartoon character definitely poses some challenges. We want to stay true to the original character while ensuring it doesn't simply appear like a cartoon plopped in the real world. Night Fury is a pretty cool name for a species, so I reckon he would look a little bit dangerous, but not terrifying. Okay, with this general shape to build on, I'm going to start using this large dragon image, which I can start pulling from to help work up the layers and detail of Toothless. Starting with this eye section, I'll just get it into position and then match the colours and lighting. Right, we need some eyes, and I think this cat's eye will work nicely. There's some good detail and texture in there. First, I'll just manipulate the shape, something like that, and then erase the edges. Let's move you up a little bit. And Toothless has green eyes. Yeah, not really seeing it yet, but we're making progress. Let's grab some more detail which we can apply to the other side of the head. Next, the plan is to make multiple selections from different sections of this dragon, which I can then use to make the horns for Toothless. Are they horns? Not sure what you'd call those. Anyway, enjoy the music while I try and make this work. And we'll just add a few more smaller horns in there. And after a little bit of tinkering, we've got this. I made the eyes a little bit bigger so he doesn't look quite so angry. Now we can add some lighting and colours given off from this moonlight. This will help give the head a bit more shape and form. Let's add a bit of glow to the eyes, which is very simple. I'll create a colour fill layer, selecting a green colour, and then changing the layer blending mode to screen. Clip it to the dragon, fill the mask with black, and with white as the foreground colour and a soft round brush, I can simply click where I want the glow. Nice and subtle. Right, Toothless needs a body, so for that I'm going to use this dragon image and pull this section here. I guess this would be more like his neck. Drop that underneath and warp into position. Make a few lighting adjustments. Alright, I'm going to spill a little secret here. This wasn't my initial attempt. In fact, I dedicated a good couple of days to crafting an entirely different version of this poster. And let's just say it didn't exactly go according to plan. But not everything was a waste of time. I'm going to use the island of Berk I created here and move it into this poster. Much happier. Let's get that positioned and then blend it with the scene. And after a bit more tweaking, here's what we end up with. I think this poster turned out pretty decent. Toothless exceeded my expectations. As mentioned, turning a cartoon into a live action version is always a challenge. It's definitely not ugly, so that's good. One thing that definitely could be improved is Hiccup's hand position. I'd prefer it if it faced forward. It's a pretty iconic action in the movie. Here it just looks like he's about to pick his nose. But hey, it'll do. What do you think of the poster? Leave a comment and let me know. I wonder what would happen if I used generative fill to make a landscape version.